All right, so this video, this match review is another Billy game. More Billy games. You know, I was just playing Billy like 3 matches ago. Definitely my wheelhouse. Definitely something I have expertise in. So I appreciate being sent Billy games because it's something I can actually help you with more than more general stuff, which is killer to killer. I actually do play killer a lot. I have a lot of hours. Obviously, you have to have a lot of hours on Billy if you want to do some of the. If you want any sense of consistency on a very underwhelming character. So yeah. This is SirBilliamFancyson. What a wonderful name. SirBilliamFancyson. I know you're about that life. 284 hours in the game. Not a spring chicken. Getting up there in the hours. So, the description, let's see what the backstory is. Okay, so there's going to be some background audio of their friends playing Apex Legends in the background. Match would have been a 4K without me giving the 2 players the door, but it was down to last gen, being seconds away, being done, even if the David tried to delay it down 2 seconds. I think I would have went south quick for me. And just needs to be being a little lucky. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Not used to Billy. This match probably my best I personally feel about my performance of Billy. So extremely tough for me trying to finish and be good at plays. Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Here of Crows, which is not like the best map for Billy, but not terrible.
Under you.
Just gonna hear that in the background. I'm just starting right away. Your build and your add-ons are kind of making me raise some eyebrows. If you want like, usually if you want like consistent results with Billy, you're using Doom Engravings and something else, right? Makes sense. Most people that want consistent results and want to like try hard use low pro. Some people use Tune Carburetor for that extra like chainsaw speed, and other people use yellow. They use yellow engraving so you can get curves. Spiked Boots is more of like a Drift Billy sort of thing, but Drift Billy was actually nerfed in this latest patch. If you didn't know, you actually gain more overheat by sprinting for long periods of time versus actually like just like revving and feathering your chainsaw. So fun build, fun add-on combo, but not necessarily like good, especially if you're looking for consistent results. Also, you're using Barbecue Lethal and Deadlock, which is fine, but Coup is an interesting choice because obviously you probably want to be M2ing with Billy as much as you can. Like I've said in a previous video, you want to be M1ing sometimes, but like Coup, which is only a perk you get value out of, and while M1ing, I would replace that with something else. Yo, G, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it, friend. Hopefully you're doing well tonight. I like Firework Billy, but that weapon sticks out so much. That's fine. You could have maybe faked it. Could have maybe faked the chainsaw. But she probably just would have thrown the pallet in your face, so that's understandable. This is the thing with Billy. When you're trying to curve, especially with like using only 1 engraving, you're going to be much slower. Going around your, you're gonna be much slower going around your the curves than usual. So when you're running your chainsaw as Billy, essentially you want the 99 of your feathering to be lined up right as you're coming around a corner, and they're at the other end of a corner. So like, this would be a perfect like attempted curve if you were already at like 99, right? Like if you had already been feathered, because you're near a corner that you can curve around, and she's almost at the other corner. So that would be like the perfect setup for a curve. But you start revving like way far back, like all the way over here. So she's past 2 corners, so she's completely on the other side of the loop, and you're really far away from her. One of the biggest problems I see, and which was something I saw in a different player in our last Hillbilly match review, was that people, it's kind of a common thing that, especially when people are getting better at Billy and not quite understanding him yet, is they'll rev like really far away, like kind of like how you are, where you're like she's almost on the other side of the tile and you're revving super early. Even if you got your you gotta, like I said, you gotta line it up to where you're like your 99, your chainsaw will be 99 by the time you're coming around a corner and they're at the other corner. So revving all the way back here doesn't make sense. I would try to gain a little bit more distance on her before you start revving. You also need to work on your actual revving, it looks like. I know it's only 40 seconds. But like when you're feathering, which is, you know, if you don't know what that is, if you're feathering, means you're trying to keep your chainsaw at 99, you should be like constantly tapping the button. You should be constantly tapping the button, whether it be your mouse or your power button on controller. You need to be constantly tapping that. I'm watching your bar go from like close to 99 all the way down to like 60, back up to 80, back to 90, and then back down. Like that should be consistently like close to this edge of the bar. If you're feathering, and shouldn't be like going back and forth that much. So I would practice that. Unfortunate. Fortunately, Billy does kind of just have to respect pallets. We were talking about that in that match we had today. It's the reason Billy's not the greatest has nothing to do with not really a whole lot to do with the character being bad. Okay, you had a long chase. You got some resources, so you're leaving. Good. What we were talking about is one of the things that makes Billy a difficult killer is that it's very incredibly easy to play safe against Billy. Just hug windows, just hug and abuse windows, pre-throw pallets. It kind of shuts him down, which is why, you know, people that are wanting consistency use low pro a lot, because you just chew through the pallets. But like, he's a very easy character to play safe against, despite how hard he is, which is why he is not particularly a strong character. Oh, she messed up. She messed up. Good, good. Very good.
I'm not doing good this match. Holy shit. I need to sit in my other chair.
He's gonna switch his gamer chair. Your friend's gonna switch his gamer chair in the background. He's gonna switch his gamer chair. That'll help. That'll do it. Yeah, switch chairs. Why'd she stick that so long? You could have hit that. You just didn't know which way she was gonna dodge. It was just a bad prediction. That's not really like player error. It is player error, but it's like there's kind of no way to know.
I have like no light ammo.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Gotta go around. You're kind of doing something I used to do that kind of like maybe not as good. It's still a bad habit I show sometimes. Like with that little chase there, you were trying to do like a kooky little mind game where you're like, I know pinpointly where this person's gonna go, so I'm just gonna back up, right, and go around. So she goes through this window right here, and you make the assumption that she's gonna run left here. So you just back up and go all the way around. Even though the more efficient thing would be to just, you know, especially while she's injured, is just follow her out the door on the right and just walk her down and M1 her. Like, you would have hit her there if you just followed her. But you try to do this like kooky little mind game where you go all the way around main building to cut her off, and now she just has access to the window again.
No light ammo.
So I would just, yeah, don't mind game too hard. Don't overthink the tile, especially if it's an entire main building. Sometimes it's better just to like tailgate him, because she would theoretically already be down here if you had actually just followed her. And thank God he had a Q, because she would have made that. If you didn't have Q, she would have made that. She would have made that pallet as well. The case in point. Hey Zach, how's it going, friend? How's your Monday been? Typically, I leave this door closed on Eerie. If I'm a 110 killer, I'll open it, because circumventing that window is you're a little slower on 110 killers. But otherwise, I just leave that door shut, because that just gives them more access to, you know, sneak and hook save. There was a person to your right, like right here, and you saw them. Like right as you hook this person. And this person's probably, what they're gonna do is they're gonna path around you and come up and get the safe right behind you. And one of the big things on killers that I see, this is one of the things that I've pointed out in multiple people's match reviews. So I don't know if this will be a main takeaway for you, but this is a main takeaway just from like generally just the people that watch me and submitting, is that a lot of you guys kind of just don't contest hooks. I'm not saying proxy every hook. I'm not saying go back to every hook. But like, there's a lot of situations where you guys will see somebody like whoever this is on the on barbecue coming around to get the save, and you don't go after them. You don't contest them. I don't know if it just doesn't occur to a lot of people that that's what that person's intention is, because they're already moving this direction. So clearly the point of interest here is their hooked friend. But you guys should be intercepting saves. You guys shouldn't be letting people get saves uncontested. And if you let the save happen uncontested, you should at least break up the heal and come back to it and make sure they can't heal. Because that's a lot of... That's basically the survivors undoing your pressure, and if you let them undo your pressure, you're going to be not as well off. Got moved to my own apartment? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Congratulations, friend. That's cozy. That's really, really cozy. There's no reason to M1 there. There's no reason to M1 there. You could have ref chainsaw and went for an M2. Why does he give up? He literally had an LLT wall. He literally had a resource.
No!
You got him. You got him. Okay, good. You need help. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep commenting. It's funny. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. Remember what I was telling you guys? I don't know if it was even possible in this situation. Let's see if it was possible in this situation. No, it's totally fine. It's funny. It's funny. I'm not upset. I promise. It's actually, it's just fun. It's just funny. Yeah, it's not possible here. But, like, this is the difference of, like, why... I mentioned this in the last Hillbilly match review that I did that came out yesterday. Well, it won't be on the YouTube, but for you guys on Twitch. It just came out yesterday. It's like, this is why palette control is important, because, not that you could have done anything here to actually have them, to switch the side of the palette, because she has palette control right now, and she has since the beginning of the chase. This is why this is important, because as you can see, if you're trying to, like, curve her around this loop, and you're just on the outside, she can just hug the pallet. She just can. Like, she hugged it on one side, you rotate the other side, she just you know, hugs the other side of the pallet. She could just switch sides. So that's why, like, holding the pallet as Billy is super important, because, like, this chase, like, you really don't have a good answer here. Like, there's really nothing you can do here besides force the pallet down, which you do, but it's like, there's not really a right answer here. Whereas if you had control of the pallet, she's just got to get curved. You know, that's why that's just an example why that's important. Oh no, you're welcome. Try to make these 4.23. We're almost at 3 at this point. 4.3k hours worth something. Yeah. And she has another pallet. That's so annoying. I'd be annoyed. That Q value. That Q value. That's so funny. Now she's dead. Good, good?
Poking us so we can move. Shithead.
Okay, you have two gens. You need somebody dead, but you don't really have... I don't think anybody's in on death. Like, you've been kind of going for different people every single time, which is nice and clean. Yeah, you should be on somebody like David. You could have chainsawed him there. Like, what is there for him to work with? This is kind of like why I feel like this is like the invert of like like the last match last Hillbilly match review I did. Because the last Hillbilly match I reviewed, they only wanted a chainsaw, and there were so many free downs that they could have had if they had just M1. You're in the reverse situation where there's so many chainsaws, M2s you could have had that you forego just to M1 them. Like, what does this David have to work with? He's got this little coffin, this little crypt mausoleum thing right here, but he doesn't have anything. There's no tile, there's no pallet, there's no window, there's nothing for as far as I can see. And you M1 him anyway? Just walk up and back rev him. Just walk up and back rev the dude. Like, there's no resource in sight for him to use. And you are an insta-down killer. If you are an insta-down killer and there's no resources around, there is absolutely zero reason to not go for that M2. Absolutely zero.
78, 21.
Why does he keep giving up? Also, this David just keeps giving up. Like, he doesn't even try to. He loops a little bit, then he just gives up right away. Like,
God, there needs to be smoke grenades and hunt. Build a res like this, like when y'all go down and throw smoke like that, build a res.
oh, look up, look up. Or back, that works too. I would look up, but either way. Whatever works. Oh, you believed in the coup. You believed in the coup. You believed in the coup. Yeah, don't let her get that save uncontested. You contest that save. It was a good guess that Rebecca would come back and just save in the meantime. That was a good guess. She didn't, but that was good map awareness. Yeah, it blew you away out fast. Yeah, it's blowing me away too. Like, he's not even that bad of a situation. Nice. He's not even that bad of a situation. He keeps giving up. Like, I don't know why he keeps doing that. Honestly, and I'm gonna say it here, and you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. Who should you be going for right now? It's 2 gens. Nobody's dead. We're going for David. Prioritize your death hook gamers. Always prioritize your death hook gamers. We saw that earlier today. I had a spirit match where I had somebody death hook at 4 gens, and then I felt bad, and then I decided to play literally a 12 hook game, and I got teabagged the whole way by the team. Got teabagged the whole way for it. Got a 2K at the end, but like, I had somebody death like at 4 gens, and I let them go because I get emotional. I'm sorry, I'm a mean killer. They teabagged me the whole way, and I only got a 2K. So prioritize your death hook gamers. Okay, she's okay. Woo, good one. Good one. You did it, Rebecca. You blinded. Yeah, you're in a tight spot now because you're at 1 gen and nobody's dead. There you go. There's David. Yeah. Stay on David. Need him then a gen ago. He literally just turns around and gives up every single chase. Wow.
Knock one.
I don't know what this guy is doing, but I don't know why he's giving up quite literally every single chase. That is not it. So now your 2 targets should either be to knock them off that gen and shack and try to prolong the game, or try to get the sweater Fong Min and get her murdered. Oh, Rebecca, honey. That was dumb. That was dumb. Rebecca, you should not have agreed to that. I would just hook her. I would just hook Rebecca. I know you're trying to like snowball right now, but like you might have Addy and get up. Yeah. Yeah, I would just hook Rebecca. There you go. You don't like. Oh no, please. Oh, she messed up. She messed up. Okay, you go very wide. You go very wide with your chainsaw. That was the second. I wasn't gonna say anything when you did it over here because I'm like, okay, well, like I mess up sometimes, like it's okay. But like I've continually saw it. Now I'm gonna say like you go very, very wide with your chainsaw. I get that the collision is really bad in this game, but for curves you really do have to like slide down the object. You can't be taking it that wide. You have to hug the object if you're gonna be curving. I know it sucks because like I said, the collision's terrible. So you're gonna end up bumping into a lot of things as you figure that out. But you can't be taking things that wide for that exact reason. Wow, that hits. That's crazy. I thought she was through the door already. I'm glad you're not kicking the gen, because you know there's multiple people around. I feel like other players would make that mistake here. You go so, yeah, like you're not gonna, yeah, you go so wide that you're not, yeah. You need to hug things tighter with your curves. Good read, good read, good read, very, very good read. More her not paying attention, but it's a good read that you would, you know, you counterplayed, you think that she wouldn't pay attention. They're making a lot of mistakes. A lot of this is them. Like, should be a 1 game for them. Good, going for last person. Ooh, that was close. This should have been a 1 game for them, but they just keep, like, making mistakes or giving up outright. It's very odd. Yeah, they threw. They threw. They threw. They didn't give up. The main reasons this happened is because they didn't give up on this 99 gen, which is a common Survivor mistake. Once they realize that the gen's 99, they won't give it up. You know, the other Fangmi was doing the right thing because she was over on the other gen trying to get that one done instead of trying to greed this one. But then she was forced to come back here because, you know, somebody had to get the save on Rebecca, which is why I was telling you to hook her earlier so you could get, you know, the other Fang's attention and get her over here. But luckily they just played bad anyway. They all ended up over here either way. But yeah, that situation fell into your hands anyway. But that's why I wanted you to hook her earlier, so they would all be grouped up back here when it was a bad idea to do so. Yeah, you do actually clutch this one out. I believe you said you let these two go, right? Yeah, you let these two go. You let them get that 99 gen. Go to the end game.
He said, where do you live?
Yeah, I remember. Because I read the description.
2 characters. There's a dude landing there. I'm going with you, game.
Okay. Let's see. Lot of proof. There's 3 proof in the match. That probably is why they got to the point they did, despite not playing the best. Yeah, they just grouped up. They were often grouped up, so that does make sense. Yeah. Yeah, because they were not playing the best. Yeah. That makes sense. So, I think, like I said, if we're going to talk about main takeaways, first off is, like I said, the opposite of our last Billy match. You kind of rely on your M1 a little too much. You rely on your M1 a little too much. The whole point of Billy is that he's an insta-down killer, that he doesn't have to worry about multiple health states if he can hit his chainsaw. And that's easier said than done. He has one of the highest skill caps in the game. But there's so many times that you forwent using your power in a space where there were no resources or readily available resources or an easily circumventable resource. So, if I can wrap this in a nice bow, if you're playing somebody like Bubba or Hillbilly, or like even anybody who has an instant on ability like Myers, and you had your tier 3 99, and there's like not a lot of resources around, like there's like the pallet's far away, the tile's far away, the window's far away, or even if it seems like it's close, like maybe I can get them there if I chainsaw here, maybe I can get them if I pop my tier 3 and attack right this second, you should just do it. If resources seem like they're a little spaced out, you should definitely prioritize using your M2 over your M1, because that is your, like, we always make fun of, like, usually this is using a trapper example, using like a trapper example, is like, you know, the survivors walk around, disable your traps, and now you're a man with machete, right? You're just a 115 killer with a normal lunge and a normal M1, right? We make that joke, but like, you kind of did the same thing here for a large majority of the match, is you were just man with hammer, or man with telephone pole, because you're using the fire set. You were just man with telephone pole because, you know, you just ran around and won everybody. And I feel like that was kind of enticed by you running coup, which is why I recommend you switch that. I feel like you kind of got enticed. You got a little like, I want that value out of Kuda, girl. You know? Yo, Quickscope, thank you so much for the follow, friend. I very much appreciate that. It's very sweet. Hope your Monday's going well. Yeah, I feel like you got a little enticed. You got a little enticed by using your Q. And M1'd a lot more than you probably should have. But either way, especially in spaces where resources are scarce or seem like you can beat them to it, definitely don't just M1 to be safe. Go for the M2. Go for your M2. Tried to rage you, but I think it was my first stream that I couldn't. Oh, that's fine. That's totally fine. I appreciate that, though. The thought that counts. I appreciate you thinking of me, homie. That's very, very sweet. I appreciate it. Hopefully your stream went well. Let's see. What was another thing that I noticed? There's a oh yeah. So the second takeaway is that if you're going to be curving with Billy, like the actual active curving, you have to ride the object that you're curving all the way down. You have to slide down it. Think about it. It's essentially like a Blight hug tech that doesn't play itself, which is like why hug tech is powerful, because it's essentially the same, like it's essentially a curve that you don't have to try. Like hug techs are curves that you don't have to try on, because, you know, they just slap their face and then they slide off the object. They slide down the object and they don't bump on anything, right? But you notice even with like with a hug tech on Blight, like you slide all the way down the object. You should be doing the same thing with Billy, where you're hugging the object as tight as possible. I know it's scary because you got to do it manually, unlike with Blight where it just kind of goes. But you missed a lot of chainsaws in this match because you were curving, but you were taking the loops as wide as a Ford F-150, like a pickup truck sliding on a wet road. Like you gotta be up against that loop. You gotta be up against that loop, because there was like, especially at the end there with the green jacket Fong, when she was like, there were 2 chainsaws you missed because you didn't hug the object that you were trying to curve, and those were free downs. They really were free downs, but you didn't hug the object tight enough. So even if it's just like going into a custom and just kind of like getting used to like loops, or like a bot match and just kind of like sliding down the objects and seeing like what the collision is like, go for it. And if you're feeling kind of like insecure about that right now, you can run heavy clutch. For now, it's essentially heavy clutch is essentially training wheels, and I wish they would just make it base kit. They won't ever do that, but I wish they would just make it base kit. But heavy clutch is essentially just training wheels. But you could do that, but I wouldn't advise it, because if you ever want to be more consistent with Billy, you probably should just learn the bad collision and just deal with it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like, a lot of the things that went wrong in this match were more on the Survivor side than you. Like, they just made a lot of mistakes, especially that David, who just kept giving up every other chase. Like, homie literally had dead hard. Homie literally had dead hard and kept turning around and doing nothing. He could have, like you were M1ing like crazy. This guy had like even an ounce of confidence. He should have been, you know, baiting and his dead hard out, getting those chases super long, and that would have won the match. They were at 1 gen. This David giving up instead of just using his dead hard is quite literally what lost them the match. So, yeah, I would work on those 2 things the most. Because realistically, you didn't do a whole lot wrong. This is just, you know, somebody who's, you know, has about 300 hours doing emerging Billy things, because they are, you know, you are somebody at about that hour range that is trying to win Billy. It's that's the sucky thing. There's no like trick to Billy. There's a lot of tricks and stuff that I showed a lot of that in the last Hillbilly match review, like, you know, curving and then like hook curves, and, you know, there's a lot of more complicated stuff like 360 curves and S curves and stuff like that. But like, realistically, like, a lot of it's just going in there and doing it. There's not a whole lot of like, I can say, hey, you need to do this better. Like, there's stuff like, you know, like I said, hug the object tight or stop revving so far away. But a lot of it you just gotta feel. It's a very feeling heavy character. It's a very like, you gotta be in there. You gotta be in the trenches with him. And once you feel it out and you get accustomed to how it feels a lot better. So if you're feeling uncomfortable like hugging objects while curving, just go play more. Whether that be in customs or in games, and just maybe not even consider trying so hard for the win. And you know, maybe trying to just curve as much as possible. Third and final thing, I will say this is the first time we've had a third one in a while. And this is more not something you did expressly wrong, but something I see a lot in these match reviews that keeps being sent to me, that has not been a point before, is stop letting people get saves for free. If you see somebody on barbecue or on Nora reading coming towards the hook, they're probably coming for the save. Intercept that person and stop them from saving. Even if they do beat you to the hook and they do save, break up the heal and chase the unhooker. Essentially, if you just let somebody get the hook save, and even more if you just let them heal up at the hook, you're just giving away all the pressure you got by putting that person on hook in the first place. So, like, it's a very easy way to apply pressure, and I've just seen in multiple matches that people just kind of like let people come get the hook save. And that's a very, very, very easy way for you guys to apply pressure when your match is more, is to intercept the saver. So you should be doing that. Yeah, that's about it for that one. Nothing too crazy or complicated.